What's up, YouTube? Just gonna do probably a quick video today. Whatever I can get done in the storage unit before I hopefully take it back to the shop this weekend, and I can get at least the majority of it done. Hopefully drivable. That would be great, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, in my geniusness, I ran the wiring harness from the driver's side and got this thing all flipped around, so that's pretty awesome. But I have to fight with it. Right now I'm adding the adapters for these fuel injectors. I got a harness for the EV1s, and I don't have EV1s, so I'm putting the adapters on, and then I have to change this coil that I broke getting the engine in, which sucked. It's not that big of a deal to change the coil. It's just more money that I didn't need to spend, and here I go. But it is what it is. I'll live. Just would have been nice to not do that, but things happen, especially when you're trying to rush stuff like I always am, because like I've said previously, I just don't have a whole lot of time to do anything, and I don't have space to do the things. So a lot of times I end up using where I work when they let me, which is nice. You know, I've built a few cars out of there with them allowing me to do things like that. Pretty lucky in that aspect. Don't give me too much grief about it. Not as much as most places would, I expect. I've been there forever and 6 days. So, I mean, whatever, it is what it is. They put up with me because I'm good at my job. What it boils down to. But, you know, I built a big old truck. I had to, again, had no time and stuff. And I solid axle swapped a 2001 3/4 ton Silverado and lifted it and all of that fun stuff in a night while buying me lonesome over there. Started sometime in the afternoon, and I didn't get done until I think 7 or 7:30 in the morning. Was pretty intense, and at the time it was my daily driver, so making the first cuts was quite anxiety filled, because once I started there was no turning back, and I had never done it before. So this thing just will not go on there, and I don't know why, but anyway, it was a job. I don't know how many of you that are watching may have done it, but it is pretty scary if you've never done it before, especially doing it on your daily driven truck. But I had to, and I live in Ohio, and we get all the rust and stuff. So the lower control arm for the IFS was actually pulling away from the frame, and I had been patching it, trying to band-aid it together, and it got to the point where I didn't want to drive it anymore. It was getting dangerous. It was pulling the tie rod apart and everything. It was bad. So I needed to do that, and my buddy Jake, he's doing a YouTube channel right now, Opie, and he's doing all that stuff right now. He's taking a little more time about it than I had, which is nice because it's a lot to do in one night, especially making all the brackets myself and all of that, because I'm cheap and I can. But it was cool. But I ended up putting 46-inch tall military tires on it and drove it for a little bit, and then I started getting pulled over because bumper height laws. It was, I don't know, about a foot over legal height. So you could see it coming down the road that it was definitely illegal. Actually had a cop pull over in front of me and let me pass him so that he could pull me over. That was special. But he didn't give me a ticket and let me go. But at that point it was like, okay, I'm gonna sell the truck and get something else. And then the next car that I got, I went from big dumb monster truck basically to a little tiny 77 MGB, small car. I don't know, Google it if you don't know. It's a little two-seater car, but I modified the hell out of the body on it, and I was going for like a, I don't know, the front end was kind of like a 65, 66 Mustang kind of thing, you know what I mean? And the rear end, I put a second gen trunk lid on it and flared the quarters and completely changed the taillights and the whole taillight panel, because I can't stand the taillights on those cars. I think they're god-awful ugly. But it turned out pretty cool. I ended up painting it red, and it was pretty okay, but it was so small. And I just wanted something that I could actually build and make fast. I could have tried LS swapping it and that kind of stuff, but it would have been just a chore, which is fine, you know, but I don't have the time and space, like I said. So sold that and ended up buying the Buick, which I still have, unfortunately, and hopefully, worst case scenario, I sell it at the swap meet, not this weekend, but coming up weekend after that, and we'll see how that goes. Probably have to try to drive it out to Canfield, which I really don't want to do. I might get a trailer, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. This one is fighting me too. But anyway, I sell it, and then, you know, this came up. I had a OBS Suburban. It was really clean. It was dented up, but there was no rust anywhere on the Suburban. It was really cool. But I got it stupid cheap because the dude I got it from couldn't figure out some things that were wrong with it, but I got it figured out relatively quickly and got a really good deal on it. But anyway, I seen this and messaged the guy and asked him if he wanted to trade, and he didn't at first, but came around and he did. So I ended up getting this for the Suburban, and he brought it to the shop for me and everything, so that was really cool. I didn't have to worry about trying to figure out how to tow it. This damn thing, I don't understand why. Nothing's ever, this is supposed to be just bang, bang, boom. This was going to be the quick part of the video. And I was going to do other things. But apparently, this is going to be the entire thing. Because why wouldn't it be? Because nothing can be easy. I mean, the first one went on just fine. Second one sucked. Third one went right on. And then this one sucks even more than the first one did. Like, I can't win. You know? It's just, if it would go on, that would be great. Everything wants to fight all the time. Just go. Thank you. Thank you. I did nothing different than I have been the last 5 minutes that y'all been watching me try to struggle with that. And it was just like, all right, cool. You fought enough. I'll go ahead and give in. And this one, never mind. Anyway, so I don't know where I was with that little story. What I was saying, something about the Suburban and getting this. But anyway, I have a lot to do with it. A lot of work. A little time. And I'm honestly hoping to be driving this weekend. Is that going to happen? Probably not. It's a big probably not. Like, that was my goal. I try to set goals with everything that I do. I built a motorcycle from the ground up. I built the entire frame and everything, and I had never done it before. So I took I can't think of what kind of motorcycle it is. It was an older cruiser crotch rocket kind of bike, kind of like a Magna, but the crotch rocket version. Can't remember what it was. But anyway, I built the whole frame, made it look more like a Harley. Even used a soft-tail rear fender and Harley seat and all that. I tried to make my own gas tank with it because I stretched the frame because I'm not a short guy. But stretched the frame and I was going to make a long gas tank, but I could not get that thing to seal for the life of me. So I ended up using something off of X Honda, whatever it was, I don't remember. But it worked, it was pretty cool. But I built it in 30 days. I built an entire motorcycle in 30 days. I just like to set goals for myself, you know. Like I said, it's just something that I do, and I broke this. Not that I need it, but I need to have it plugged. Whatever, I'll fix that later. But anyway, I built it, and it was fast. It was a very fast bike. It was light. I made it out of basically 1-inch fence post kind of thing. Built the whole frame out of that. Everybody said that I was nuts. It was going to fold over on itself and all the things. And I just ignored everybody, continued to build it. You know, I braced it in all the places that looked like it might have been weak. I had all the braces on it, and it was built well. You know what I mean? It was good. and it was a hardtail. Probably not the best idea for a homemade motorcycle that I was using fence posts for. But the first thing I did to test the durability was take it down the road at about 70 miles an hour and smack the biggest pothole I could find just to see if the frame was going to crack. It was going to do it then and not while I was going down the road and not expecting it, you know what I mean? So I fly down the road and I smack this pothole just hard, and it bucked me real good, about threw me off the motorcycle. But it was fine, you know, I stayed on it and knew what was happening, so I was ready for it. But did that, brought it back to the shop, looked it over for any cracks and whatnot, and it was fine. Everything was peachy. So I had it there for a couple of more days, just sitting and whatnot, and then I had to get it out of there. And I remember my dad followed me from the shop to his house because I kept it in his garage for a couple of days because it was winter time when I had gotten it done. Well, getting close to spring. I think it was March when I got it done and rode it to his house, and it was snowing and I was freezing. And when we got to the house, he told me he was surprised how straight it went down the road, and I said, yeah, it rides great for what it is. It's fantastic. And it was just really cool because I had never done it before. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about motorcycles, and I've had them, whatever, ridden them and all of that, but I've never built one. And it was just fun. It was a cool thing to do, and I had it for a few months. Rode it, bar hopped it, that kind of thing. It was just a fun, fast bike, and it was pretty comfortable. But time came. I had to move on, sell it, because I have problems. I think I just like to build stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I should find a job where I just build things and just let them go on down the road, because it seems to be what I do. Even the Buick, I got it running, and I was gonna build it, but I'm over it. I don't need it in my life anymore. But I do that all the time. My friends, family, everybody, whatever, says that I change cars more often than I change my underwear. It's kind of crazy. I had more cars than most of the people that I know by the time I was 18. I've had so many cars. I've always had a love for cars ever since I was a little kid, holding a flashlight for my dad and helping him get in the way. Getting yelled at. But it's always been my thing. My grandpa has always been into cars. It's just been in my family forever. I try to get my kids involved in it, but they don't really have a whole lot of love for them. It's fine. I wish they did, but who the hell am I going to get to work on my cars now when I'm too old to do it? Like, my dad has me to work on his because he taught me how to work on cars. And it was really funny when I was younger and my friends would come over while I was working on the Monty or whatever car. And if my dad would be out in the garage with me helping, he called us. There was a show on Discovery Channel. I don't know if any of y'all would even remember or whatever, but Orange County Choppers, Paul and Paul Sr., that was my dad and I. We'd holler at each other all the time and whatever, it was fine. a lot of times it was funny and we were just doing it for fun, you know, messing with each other, not really hating on each other, you know what I mean? So it was fine, and it was fun. It was, you know, my time doing all that stuff was nice. You know, I was lucky enough, my dad helped me out buying my first car, and you know, I paid him back, and you know, worked around the house and whatnot and all of that. And then the first car that I built, the Monty, when I graduated high school, my dad gave me a big block for it that he was building for a 55 Chevy that he had, and it, you know, he was building the thing for 450, 500 horsepower or nothing. So as soon as he gave it to me, I went and changed everything, and I had it closer to 550, 600 horsepower, and that was just ridiculous. By the time I got it in the car, I was probably 20 years old, and it was a lot of car for somebody that old, but it was fine. You know, I'm still here, still have all my legs and everything. I never wrecked that car. It was pretty okay, you know what I mean? I have wrecked numerous cars, because, you know, you gotta learn how to drive somehow. But I never wrecked that one. But I made some mistakes along the way anyway, and I ended up having to sell it to pay off some other things. So, car's long gone. It is what it is. Might have been parted out by now for all I know, but I redid that whole damn car, and it was awesome. Everything was done. I did everything on that car, and I was a kid. I figured it all out. I built it off a Summit Racing clearance rack in eBay. I didn't have Temu and Amazon then, but I mean, it probably would have been built off of that stuff too. I was broke. You know, I'm still broke, but I was broker not then than I am now. But it was fun, and I think most people should be able to do that kind of stuff. I think most people should want to do that kind of stuff. Build your own car, build something. You know, do things. Everybody just sits around and watches videos all the time. Keep watching, like and subscribe. But it's just I don't know, get out and do some stuff. I am guilty just as much as anybody else, doing the same damn thing, just sit around and do nothing, because I'm exhausted all the time. But it is what it is. That's life. Is the coil? Nice. But that car was fun. It was an 11-second car that was driven on the street by a low 20-something kid that had no business driving something that fast. But I did. And my dad supported me, even though he thought it was all a bad idea. It was cool. He helped me out where I needed it. Did a lot of stuff to that car. Miss it, can you tell? Right. Life goes on. And this, I've always liked the body style of a 65 Impala. Don't care too much about the 64 to what, 62, 61, whatever. I like the earlier ones. Don't care too much for the 68s and up. But this body style specifically is cool. It's kind of like a slightly bigger Chevelle, so it's cool. It's got a longer ass end. Front end's probably about the same, maybe a little longer, but not much. Suspension's different. That's something I still gotta try to figure out. Corvette's gone with the front suspension still on it, so I'm definitely not doing the C4 front suspension. I still have the rear end, but it's currently for sale. If I can't sell it, then I'll think about putting it in this. But if it does, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. It's decent. It'll handle what I'm doing. Even if I put a little turbo on this, I think it'll be alright. If it breaks, then I'll worry about that at that time. You know what I mean? But I have a whole lot still to do. This thing is full of parts. I gotta change this coil. I gotta get the radiator mounted. I gotta run all the fuel lines. I gotta finish wiring up the harness and stuff on the inside. Run the heater hoses. Figure out if the brakes are gonna work. Still gotta finish the quarter. Then finding seats is ridiculous. Like, I've just completely given up on trying to get seats for this because they're stupid expensive. So I'm pretty much at the point where I'm gonna be making them or finding some buckets, just the cheapest ones that I can find right now for the front, and make a back one. I don't know exactly what I'm doing with that. I have a bunch of material and stuff I can sew, and the plan was to reupholster some seats, but I can't find anything that aren't, a couple $100 that need reupholster. And it's crazy. And when I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. Whenever I'm selling something, I want to get rid of it, so I don't try to make $1 million on it. Make some money, cool. Like, I buy car parts just to resell sometimes, but it's crazy. And seats take up a lot of room. Like, how long are you gonna hold on to seats? There's seats that I've been watching on there that have been there for months. You're gonna hold on to a bunch of seats to make an extra $50? Like, really? They take, but anyway, whatever. I don't know. I still gotta drill the holes for this clutch pedal that I made. Figure out how I'm gonna mount the slave cylinder, because the Corvette one that I was gonna put on here goes right into the header, so I got a pull style rather than the push style. So I gotta get it up under there and figure out how I'm gonna mount that, and where I'm gonna put the master cylinder, because going all that route and everything was cheaper and easier than trying to get a Z-bar and the correct pedal and all of that. And I'd rather have a hydraulic clutch, so win-win, I guess. And I can make it, so I will make it. Just rather not, because it's quicker, obviously, to just bolt something on, but it is what it is. I was really hoping the radiator that I got is a little bit too wide for this, and I've been hoping, while not seeing it here, that I was going to be able to just kind of knock the frame out of the way a little bit, but that's not going to be an option. So I'm either going to have to angle the radiator or figure out how to raise the front of the hood a little bit or something, but I'll get something figured out. That's what I did with the MG. I ended up raising the front of the hood, I think 5 inches. It's just to completely change the look of the car. And I liked it. A lot of people seem to like it, except for the MG purists. There's always purists, no matter what the vehicle is. The MGs are cheap POS cars, and there's people that cry, bitch, and moan if you change anything on them. Like in old Buicks and old anything, they get butthurt if you're talking about putting a 350 in it. They keep your Buick. Why? It's not junk. You don't want it, do you? You want to buy it? It's all original. You want to buy it? Cool. If not, shut up and let me do my thing. I can't stand purists. I really can't. They don't make sense to me. Keep it all original. What for? Why? Make it make sense. I can't. But, I am going to show you some Tommy rig stuff that I probably should, because I'm going to catch all the hell for it. But anyway, I used the truck's stock oil pan on this. It's a bad idea. I wouldn't advise it, but I have limited time and money. So if you look, the oil pan is actually resting on the cross member. Alright? You see that? There's no bolt going through the motor mount, and it is welded to the mount. It's welded on both sides. It'll be fine. This side has a bolt going through it. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there it is. You can see it. So the bolt's there. It's fine. The transmission crossmember is Tommy rigged. The oil pan does sit below the crossmember. I don't care. It'll be fine or it won't. If I hit something and crack it, then I'll deal with that when the day comes. I'll have to cut the welds and take the engine back out. Big deal. It'll suck, but it's what I gotta do right now. Back here, I have the fuel cell. You can see that going on, and I got the fittings just off of Temu, right? Because it's cheap. But anyway, when I ordered them, could have swore it said 10 AN to 3/8. Turns out they're 5/8. So I had to get some 5/8 fuel line and some adapters to go from 5/8 to 3/8. I have all that stuff now. I have the O2 sensors and all that fun stuff. But we'll get to all that. We really need to do some stuff. But if you look, you can see the oil pan is about, I don't know, 4 inches below the cross member. But I'm probably going to leave the ride height as it is, at least for a good long while. So I'm not real worried about it. There's 8 inches of clearance there. Probably not that much, but there's plenty, if you get what I'm saying. So it'll be fine. Really. Not worried about it at all. And just be careful over speed bumps and all the things like most normal people are anyhow, and you don't have anything to worry about. But as you can see, I still have a whole bunch to do in here. It is a front piece of a fender that one day, if I feel froggy enough, I'm going to cut the top part off to fix the front of that other fender. But I just need it to run and drive for now. And these, I don't remember what I bought these headers for, but you can see I had to dimple them pretty good, and when it rocks, the header's gonna hit the steering box. That's life. It'll be okay. But that's what an LS looks like inside of a 65 Impala. Fits real good. I have it up to the second bolt in the adapter plate. So if you're doing this and you want to see how much room you've got, that's it. You could probably get another 1/2 inch back. That's what it looks like. Something close to that, maybe an inch. But this is fine. It clears the arm, the drag link, clears all the things. It's no big deal. On full lock, turning one of the directions, I don't remember, it hits it, but very slightly, not a big deal. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video because I can't really do a whole lot while I'm feeling almost forced to talk and not all the things. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, and stay tuned because there'll be more updates coming. Bye.